coordinate between the bank and the small business. You see, although you have the SBA here, I'm sure they're making a lot of loans, but the small loans to minority business. I would go as far as to say that even the small business, they don't know how to do it. You see, perhaps I have to write a book on that to give them an idea.
Correct. Great idea. Okay, so what's your plans for the future as far as your business and the growth of your company?
Well, at the moment, we plan to take the company public, and we are in the process of doing that now. And even that, we are having difficulties because all the investment firms in Charlotte refused to help us even to get a symbol on the exchange. They refused to trade our shares, you see, at this stage. And I have to be talking to people in New York, and even because I'm in Charlotte, I'm not in New York.
Correct.
And sometimes you don't have the ability to go to New York, spend a lot of time, and reach out to those investment bankers. And most of the firms here, their headquarters is somewhere else. For example, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, the headquarters in New York. And you talk to a broker here, they have to wait until New York say they can do something. And most of the time, they don't want to do anything. So we are in a limbo right now, and hopefully I am talking to brokers all over the country. And look, hopefully we'll have someone who will give us an opportunity to get our symbol and get us start trading, and so we can get enough funds to do some of the things we want to do. And the same thing in getting contracts, even from the federal government, from the city, or from the state, you see, because you have to have funds in order to do these contracts.
Correct.
And a good example, 18 months ago, I bid on some contracts with the federal government to the tune of $400 million. I could have had the contract if I had the financing. Went to the banks. Banks said, I can't help you.
How does that make you feel? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because that has a big effect on your company.
Definitely. And you cannot grow
Correct.
if you cannot get funding, you see. And it is very simple. You have a contract, you have a purchase order, you go to a bank, they say they can't help you. You have to take it to some other banking situation where they charge you a lot of interest. Sometimes the profit you have in it cannot even cover that interest. So what's the use, you know? If they have somebody in the bank who said, all right, you have a purchase order, let's see how we can fund that purchase order. You see, not even the SBA is doing that, you see. So minorities have a big problem in expanding or making the kind of income that they want to make, just because of that. And of course that can be changed if you have someone, say in the city of Charlotte, who can sit down and say, well, if the guy has a purchase order, why can't you fund him? Makes no sense.
How discouraging is that as far as the funding and the bank issue to other individuals who may want to start their own business?
Well, it's very discouraging. And I'm not saying they're not to start their business. Perhaps what they can do is that you have several minority companies who can get together and say, all right, we can provide some mentoring to someone who wants to start a business and take him through the process. And but of course, the end product is funding. So we have to be able to deal with that aspect of it.
Do you see some type of way of solving this in the near? Do you see any way of solving this in the near future? Or
Well, the only way we can solve it is that we have to get minorities all over the country who been successful and to put a pool of funds together to fund minority companies throughout the nation. You see, that's one approach. The minorities need to come together to set up the type of banking that can fund projects whenever you have them. That we don't have. Most of the minority banks might just loan a small. I don't even think they can lend $1 million to a black business or minority business in this community. I don't think the black banks can do that, or the minority banks, what they call them. You see, so I mean, if you can't even do that, why are you in business? Makes no sense.
Do you think, as far as more minority banks should start getting more involved in these situations and starting to expand to help the community out?
Yes, I think what they need to come together and set up a fund. As I said earlier, you could have a fund just to fund contracts. That will help the minority business to grow, because they do get the contracts, but they can't fund the contracts. They have to give it up. You see, so for all the minority banks come together and say, here is a pool of funds of $1 billion, for example, then the minority business can go to that pool of funds whenever they have a contract. And they have set up an organization that runs that with those funds and said, you have a contract, come to us. We'll fund your contract. You see. And that pool could get bigger because you'll have these minority companies making more money and can invest in the banks. You see. It's very simple.
Correct.
But you have to understand the financial systems and the investment community, how this is done. I mean, I can tell them how to do that because that's my background. You see, but as I said, they may not even listen to me.
They probably will. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, someone has to go out there and, take that initiative as far as for the others.
Well, that's true. That's true. Because we need to grow, and as I said, I'd be willing to work with anyone, that would want to do something like that. I'd be willing to help them put it together and make it happen.
That's great. That's great. Okay. Let's talk about. I know the first time I met you, you talked about Jamaican maroon.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
That's my ancestors.
Correct.
And the Maroons were African slaves that were brought to Jamaica. And when they came to Jamaica, they ran away to the hills with the Tanos and the Arawak Indians. And they all mixed together, and they fought the Spanish. And the English came when the Spanish couldn't get anybody to work for them. The British saw that the weakness, so the British came and we fought them for 80 years. And then they signed about 3 treaties with us, and that's how Jamaica came into their independence from there.
How important is it for yourself to know the history of the Maroons and for other communities to know a little bit about this?
Well, with the internet, you can go on the internet, you can
Correct.
learn about the Maroons, especially the Jamaican Maroons. And there's a lot of research have been done. When my book is out, we plan to do a movie, and that will give some history of it. Hopefully, we'll be able to, more people will be able to learn about it, the Maroons and the Jamaican history, which is very, very interesting.
Another thing I know you talked about is that you were in the Olympics. Tell us a little bit about your experience being in the Olympics, sir.
Well, I went to 2 Olympics in Jamaica, the Tokyo Olympics and the Mexico Olympics. And my event was the long jump. And in college, I did the long jump and the sprints relay. At Southern Cal, we were able to win a lot of events.
Correct.
We won the NCAA, the track and field. Of course, you know, they're very notorious in winning championships.
Correct.
In 1 year, they won about 7 championships in 1 year. So that was quite interesting. The Olympics is a celebration because you meet people from all over the world. You make friendships, some of them are lasting, and it's a wonderful experience. And in another 2 weeks, you'll be having the London Olympics.
Correct.
So I'm sure a lot of people will be watching that. Of course, Jamaica always have good athletes, especially in the Olympics and British Commonwealth Games, Pan American Games, West Indies Games, all those I participated in.
Okay, we're running short on time. If people want to get some more information about yourself and Norcor, how would they go about doing that?
Well, they can Google me. And they can, I'm sure the University of Southern California has a lot of stuff about me.
Correct.
And when my book comes out, they can buy it and learn more about me. And of course, when we do make that movie, probably the whole world will know more about it. We'll see.
Running short on time. How does it feel to know that you at one time was the best of the best? Oop, we're running out of time, but that's I'd like for you to, come back and answer that one day.
I'll be delighted.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Wes Clayton. Thank you for watching the show. You be encouraged. Thank you.